Happy Monday, everybody. Thank you so much for downloading or streaming the Be Our Guest podcast. We've got a great trip report for you today. We're headed up to New Hampshire with listener Adam talking about his Princess Half Marathon trip. And it's not just all running, so don't go running away if you are not one of our runner fans, because we talk about his stay at Disney's Pop Century Resort, great meals at places like the Boathouse and Polite Pig, and going around the theme parks. He was there the last day that there was a virtual queue offered for both Guardians and Tiana's, and they spent a lot of time in the theme parks. We talk about strategies and fun times they had there, but we also talk about running for a charity and why this race weekend was Adam's first runDisney in-person event, and he ran both the 5K and unexpectedly ran the half marathon. So hear about, how did that happen? How did he unexpectedly run the half marathon? Of course, he got a PR for that, but he was running for more than just him. Great stories headed your way on today's show. Don't forget, today's podcast brought to you by the Magic for Less Travel. We'd love to help you plan your next Walt Disney World, Disneyland, Disney Cruise Line, or Adventures by Disney vacation for no additional cost to you. Check out the Platinum Earmarked Agency, which means Disney has recognized them for being one of the best agencies out there. Check them out today over at themagicforless.com. Please also use our Amazon affiliate link. It's beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. Just click through the link and it supports our show at the same time. And thank you to our Patreon supporters. You guys make the show possible. We could not do this without your support. Just $5 a month. And for that support, you get a bonus show called Mike in the Midwest every week. Coming over, we'd love to have you at patreon.com/beourguestpodcast.
Ready to take a trip to the world? You found the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. This is where your memories come front and center on our podcast stage.
Welcome to episode 2714 of the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Rallman from beourguestpodcast.com and one of the senior agents over at the Magic for Less Travel. Happy Monday to you. Hope you had a great weekend. Got to get outside, maybe get a run in, a walk the dog, or just, if you're smart, sit on the deck and enjoy the weekend. That's what the smart people do. But, crazy people like us got in that long run. That's what we do. But hey, enjoy it. And we got to get out the door down the road to work. No school. It's summer. But we're hopefully going to take you on a fun virtual trip to Walt Disney World and a special treat for our runners. For those people who are insane running in the summer heat, I'm telling you what, man, there's an invention called the treadmill where it can be nice and cool, dark, whatever you need. You can run night, day, same temperature all the time. I know people hate them. They're there for a reason, people. They're not that bad. But anyway, the next race to sign up for, I think Princess Half Marathon. I don't even know if we had signups for that. We'll talk about that. But we're talking about a Princess Half Marathon trip. We're going to talk about the resorts, the dining, but also the races. So don't run away if you're not a runner. Like, oh my gosh, I don't want to think about running. Running's terrible because you know what? 95% of the population, true. And it is horrible for most of, even runners. We say that. Like, it's fun and all that until like you get out there the first 5 seconds, you're like, oh, this is fun. And then, after mile one, you're like, oh, this is not fun. Magical miles. That was a lie. But then it is fun when you get your medal. So we'll talk about all the ups, the downs, the fun. We're going to talk about a lot of Walt Disney World vacation stuff too. So hang with us. It's going to be a fun trip report. And we have a return guest, Adam from up in New Hampshire, joining us for a first time runDisney half marathon trip. So we're going to get into that. Adam, what's going on? Happy Monday.
Great to be here, Mike. It's a pleasure to join you tonight. And I've had those moments too, those morning runs where you start out feeling great and half a mile in, I'm going, I've made a terrible mistake.
Oh, dude, all the time, right? I mean, you question like, what am I doing? Like, for me, because I get up, do something every morning, super early. I get up at 5 because I want to get some, get the blood flowing before I have to sit down at the computer, do my travel work and stuff like that. But most mornings I'm like, my wife is so much smarter than me. She's still in bed. It's nice and warm under the covers. But then, once I finish it, I feel much better. Like when I come back in, I'm sweaty. I'm always like, I always try to poke her like, hey, scratch my back because it's all sweaty. She's like, no, you're all gross. I'm like, I always do that to her. It never gets old for me. It gets old for her really fast. But it is one of those things like, it's a mindset thing. And, that's kind of why I do like running, but I hate it while I'm doing it most of the time. Love hate.
Yeah, you get that sense of accomplishment when you finish your run, but those 30, 40, 50, however many minutes it takes you to finish.
Yes.
You're questioning your sanity for several moments during that time.
Yeah, and I have all these shirts. I have like 3 or 4 different ones that I've bought over the years. I've been doing Run Disney races since like early, mid 2000s or so. And, it's like every mile is magic. And you know what? I've run a lot of miles. And liar. I've had because I've run the full. Like, trust me, like mile 22, never magical. Like, I've never had a mile 22 that's magical. Dude, it's not fun. Like, once you hit like 24 and you're at Epcot, okay, now we're getting closer. But yeah, it's not. That's a lie. Anyway, we're talking to you today. We're going to have a good time. So before we go, how are things, this summer up in New Hampshire? Hopefully going well.
Well, we're finally getting into some nicer weather, some warmer weather. We've had 13 straight weekends with rain.
Oh, my God.
So
that's a streak you don't want.
It's been rough, so we finally broke that streak this weekend.
Oh my gosh! Well, 4th of July is coming around the corner, so hopefully you can have that. That's this Friday and the 4th of July weekends. Hopefully you have a dry one for that. Let's hope.
That would be nice.
That would be nice. All right, so before we jump into this, instead of asking about your background, 'cause you've been on the show before, you are going to be running for a charity now for your next race. So when is your next race that you're signed up for? Like, because before we look back on Princess last year and kind of talk about that adventure, what is you want to share with our audience that you're running for a charity for your next race? So tell us about that.
Yes, so I will be actually going back to Princess Weekend next year in 2026, and I will be running for the National Ovarian Cancer Coalition. They have a running team known as Team Teal. Teal is the official color of ovarian cancer awareness. So it was kind of just happenstance that I came across the charity when looking at Princess Weekend this weekend we're about to talk about. Happened to see that they were a sponsor. They were a recognized charity for the weekend. I thought, why not? Let's give it a shot, see if we can get a charity bib for the 5K. And I applied, and long story short, I was accepted and able to join the team and raise money for a cause that's very near and dear to my heart. I lost my Aunt Robin to ovarian cancer in June of 2023. And she was only 12 years older than me. So growing up, it was very much a kind of a, big sister, little brother relationship. And the relationships evolve over time, but we were still pretty close. And she was extremely close with my 2 daughters. And so I felt like this was a really good way to honor her memory and help those who are going through similar situations to what she went through for 4+ years before she finally did succumb to the disease. So it was a great experience running for Team Teal back in February, and I'm very much looking forward to doing so again in February of 26.
I applaud you for doing that, and I'm sorry for your loss, but that is one of the great things with the running community as a whole, not just the Run Disney community, but you see it when you go to these races down at Walt Disney World, you see it at Disneyland as well, is that there are so many opportunities where you can run for a charity. I'm going to run at Disneyland for Kelsey's Hope. That's another charity out of St. Louis. And, you have an opportunity to kind of give back and help out, and also have, these race weekends are a ton of fun, but also hopefully raise funds for a bigger cause. And there's a lot of camaraderie. You're part of a team, and it's a great kind of win-win situation, right? I mean, you bring awareness also out on the course because you see these, tents set up. You see people along the course with signs cheering their team, the specific team on. Team and training will be out there on the course for those folks, and it's a great way to, I don't know, these are all cancers and childhood diseases and stuff, and everybody's kind of fighting to make the world just a little better place in this running community. And for us runners that are kind of, when you're out there on the course, whether it's a 5K, 10K, half, or a full, it's hard to get to the finish line, right? Physically, mentally, like you're just struggling to take that next step. But when you see people out there encouraging you, and that, there's people that are going through stuff a lot harder than I am. When you think about that, when you see these signs, team and training people with blood diseases and stuff like that, like, what, this isn't so hard. I think it's a good reminder of that kind of thing too. But there's just so many different, like, kind of wins with teaming up with a charity when you do this kind of thing.
It truly puts things into perspective for you when you're running for a charity and you meet people as part of the team that are, cancer survivors. They are, 3-4 years in remission or cancer free, and they're on the course running the 5K, the 10, the half, the challenge. It's truly inspiring. Like I can't say I've ever gone through anything as difficult, knock on wood, as these folks have. So it really is an inspiration that these folks who have been through such hardships and such difficult times in their life are now past that, and their lives are, better, and they're out there doing these miles just like me. So there was, a little, gives you a little jump in the step as you're hitting those miles. Those miles don't seem quite so bad when you've got those inspirational people behind you.
Yeah, and if you've never run a race, you'll see these folks out on the course, and it will just lift your human spirit. I mean, it is just, it always does for me. Like when I see somebody out there that is just, says cancer survivor, or, survivor of some other, disease that they've had, and it's just, wow. And I thought this, this blister that I have on my, big toe is going to be a problem today. Like, come on, Mike, or the stitch that I have at mile 12, big deal.
Yep.
It just,
Yeah.
it puts things in perspective in your life. We're all blessed. So
Truly does.
Okay, so let's talk about your trip though. So Princess Half Marathon, and we were talking about this in the pre-show. You post in the Lizards a lot, with all your runs and stuff, and I love that. We have the best team because everybody posts, everybody's smiling, everybody's we support each other so much, and I'm like,
so much positivity.
Exactly. And I was like reading the notes, I'm like, this was your first Run Disney like race weekend? I'm like, no. I was like, that can't be, because I've seen you post so many times, and it was. So how did this, what you did some virtual races, right? In the led up to this 2025 Princess Half Marathon weekend. So give us a little background there.
Well, so I began running really, truly running in 2019, and just as a way to sort of, start living a healthier life. And it became something that now I do basically every day, and started doing races locally. But, obviously through all the hearing it all on the podcast and talking to people in the Lizards and on the Discord, everybody talking about their experiences at Run Disney events, it was absolutely something I wanted to do, and I wanted to do for a very long time. So it was about finding the right opportunity, and as I mentioned, coming across the charity organization that I joined, it just seemed like it was kind of the perfect storm, and it was the right time, it was the right situation. So I decided to go for it and kind of make that bucket list item come true and get to my first Run Disney event.
Nice. So let me ask you this. Okay, I gotta ask you the question, right? Your first registration for an online, for an in-person, Run Disney event, like, how did that go for you? Because for me, the most harrowing part of a Run Disney event, I run Dopey every year, right? I've run Dopey. This will be my 12th Dopey. I am dead serious when I say the thing that stresses me out the most about Dopey is registration. Like, it's not the 48.6 miles that weekend. Like, that's hard. But what stresses me out the most is just trying to get in one more time. Like
trying to get in to do those 48 miles.
It stresses me out so bad. I hate it. So, and I'm sure because you're very connected, right? So you knew the horror stories. Of course, we got Joe and all these strategies. We got the Discord now. We got all these like little helpers, and thank God for that. thank God we have some help at this point. But like, what was registration like for you? Of course, you did a charity bib, so that helped. But were you stressed about? Yes. Were you stressed about just getting in? And what would you offer for folks that want to get into a race besides charity bibs?
Well, charity bibs are obviously nice. For me, it wasn't quite as harrowing to register because I had hit a minimum in my fundraising that I, right around registration time, I was able to go in and register for the 5K. And we'll talk about the other race that I did later and the registration for that, but and how the circumstances of how that came around. But trying to sign up for a Run Disney race, you have to pack your patience, you have to pack your hope, and your multiple devices.
Yes.
It's definitely a harrowing experience. It's white knuckle. Have everything ready the second you get that notification that you're going in to start the process. Have everything ready. Have your credit card out in front of you. Have your information in front of you. Have everything you need ready to go the second you see that screen change.
Yes, be ready and the thing is, I've said this about the Lizards, and if you don't know, we're referencing the Lizards. That's our running team that's affiliated with the podcast. Anybody can join. You don't have to be a runner. You can just get out there and walk every day, get some encouragement for just getting moving. We don't discriminate at all. We just want you to live a healthier lifestyle. Just go over to Facebook and type in Be Our Guest Lizards, and you'll be a part of the team. That's the only requirement. Just be a good person, and we'll welcome you with open arms. And we just want you to get out there and get healthy, and that's what we're all about, just encouragement and just helping each other out. So come on over. So when we talk about the lizards, you're like, what we talk about? That's who we are. And it's just a great group, but we help each other, kind of help, everybody get in the races. If somebody's a school teacher and they have to take their kids on a field trip on that, because registration's on a Tuesday at 10 o'clock in the morning. Like, seriously, I was a teacher forever. Like, I always had to take my kids next door, like tell the other teacher next door, like, look, I will buy you lunch for a week, but please take my kids for an hour, and I'm locking the door. I mean, I did this one day year I took the day off. Like, I had to do the stupidest stuff to sign up for races.
You do what you have to do.
Oh my gosh, it was ridiculous. But I mean, you do what you got to do, because you want, these races are fun. I mean, they're what we do, because you train all year. Okay, so anyway, let's talk about. So you went down. This race takes place in February. You stayed at Pop Century. So why did you pick Pop? I mean, was it a good choice? But I mean, what made you land there?
Pop is really our favorite resort, without a doubt. The Skyliner access for Epcot and Hollywood Studios make the difference, whether it's a Run Disney trip or a trip with our family. We just love having the Skyliner access. So we knew that even for this trip, knowing that we were going to be going to the Run Disney races during the weekend, it was important to be at Pop, and we're familiar with it. We love it. It's our favorite resort.
It's a good resort for race weekend, because runners all go to Pop, and like you just feel it like constantly at Pop. I mean, you feel it like at all the hotels, but I think Pop just oozes the Run Disney energy.
Oh, definitely, and they treat the runners nice at Pop as well.
Yeah.
Welcoming you back after the race is over and getting off the bus or coming in. In our case, we drove, but they really treat you nice after a race.
Absolutely. So was it just you and your wife, or
it was?
Okay, so the two of you. So you got there on Wednesday. So the 5K is going to be on Friday. I'm trying to think of Princess. Okay, Friday, and then 10Ks on Saturday, fulls on Sunday. So you just got the lay of the land. So Thursday, you get to go over to the expo. Your first expo experience, because your first Run Disney in-person weekend. I hate the expo. I'll be honest. I'm not, because I'm not a shopper. Like I'm a buyer. Like there's a difference between shopping and buying. Like I like to buy, like I know what I want, and I just go, dude, I don't like the whole, it stresses me out at the expo, man. What did you think? I mean, I got to hear it from a rookie. What was your expo like?
I was actually quite impressed with the expo and the way they handled it. Even from just when they opened the gates and there's cast members on either side of the walkway coming in, cheering us on. I went down and started high-fiving cast members as I went. I always wanted to do this.
I love that. I love your spirit.
I've just always wanted to run down a high-five line. But just even the lines for bib pickup and everything, they were so efficient and so well done. And the expo itself, I mean, yeah, it's a little bit overwhelming. There's a lot going on when it comes to the expo, and I'm not a huge fan of the virtual queue for merchandise on that first day, mainly because we had a tight window from when our virtual queue was called. So we didn't get called for our virtual queue until about 12:30-ish. But that was even just to enter the building. That wasn't to enter the area where the merchandise is. That was to just get in line inside the building.
You always think like I'm in. Then you go around that corner. You're like, oh no, I'm in this room with the super long line now. Like what? What's the virtual queue for? Come on now. Yeah.
But to further complicate matters, we had a 1:15 reservation for lunch at the boathouse.
Yeah, I'm bouncing. Like, see you. Those sliders are calling my name. See you.
my wife and I are in line, and I'm looking at her, and I'm going, what's the cutoff time? What are we looking at? What do you think? How long do we have? She's looking at her. I'm looking at my watch. She's looking at her phone. She's like, 12:45 maybe. I think we got let into the merchandise area at 12:39.
So you became a
It
buyer,
was
not a shopper too, it
it
sounds like.
it was like the supermarket sweep version
I love
of
it,
the
yes.
Run Disney merchandise.
Yes, you need two everything bagels, one magazine that is consumer science. Those are the big ticket items today.
I found the two finisher shirts that I wanted. I picked up my pre-ordered shirt. My wife found a Christmas tree ornament, and we paid, and we were gone. And we checked in at the host stand at the boathouse at exactly 1:15.
Well done. I mean, and that's how you do the expo, ladies and gentlemen. You get in, you get out, you get your stuff. Look at this. He's first expo, and he's already got it figured out like Black Diamond, in and out. Get your stuff and get your sliders at the boathouse.
Which I
And
did.
the bread. Oh my gosh. Did you guys have the bread too? Oh, the bread's so good.
Yes. Oh, we asked for more.
Oh, well, I mean, the buns on the sliders are really, I mean, it's basically the same thing.
Yeah, our cast member came back and was like, "Do you want more bread?" And
Yes.
my wife almost said no, but I looked at her and go, "When are we gonna
Dude,
get back here?"
If my wife would have said no, I'd
Get
been
more
like,
bread.
Get out! What are you talking about? It's like a Texas Roadhouse. We're like, would you like more rolls? Yes, always. Now, real quick, I want to bring up something because you're over there at Disney Springs. I don't think a lot of people know this. Tell us about the co-op, because there's a place at the co-op that every runner needs to visit, and I don't know if all the runners know about this.
There is. There's a great Run Disney merchandise shop at the co-op that we heard about online through various social media feeds. So we went over there when we were done with lunch, and they had a great selection of merchandise. I bought a really nice Run Disney jacket. I bought the Run Disney medal rack to display my medals, and they had a really great selection of a lot of really great merchandise.
Yeah, that Run Disney medal rack is clutch. Like I got two of those when I was at Disneyland for the half, and I love that thing. Like, it wasn't.
Yeah,
I don't know.
it looks so
it
great.
wasn't that expensive at Disneyland. Was yours? I mean,
It really wasn't.
No,
It,
was
at,
like
at the
20
co-op,
some
it was not
bucks.
that expensive either.
Yeah.
It's a high quality item, and it looks
Right.
great.
Right. Like for once, I was like, when I got it at the expo at Disneyland, it was like 20 some bucks or something. I was like, are you kidding me? Is this mislabeled? So I bought two. 'Cause you can only buy two. I was like, I need two. I was like, I can't. I turned to somebody else. I can't believe this is only that expensive. I'm getting two.
Yeah, and I had a panic moment because they were empty on the shelf, but there was a bunch of them behind the cast member at the register. I was like, "Oh, can I have one of those?"
Yeah, because they're cool looking, right? I mean, because it's got the Run Disney
Very cool.
logos. That's awesome for your medals. Okay, so the next day we're getting into a 5K morning. You're signed up for the 5K. Cold morning, so you got got to have a cold morning. I mean, it's the way it is with Run Disney races. But you're going costumed up. I love this for a 5K especially. So tell us about how was it? Like nerves, getting up in the middle of the night, getting ready to catch the buses at Pop, walking out your door in the costume. That's always a little harrowing, right? You're like, am I going to be the only one in a costume for the first like 10 strides? And then you see somebody else. You're like, okay, we're good. Because I do the 5K and the hot dog every year. So I'm always like, oh my God, am I going to be the only person looking like an idiot? Then, somebody, as soon as I see somebody else, I'm good. So tell us about that morning.
That morning, the forecast was for cold, and it was 42, I think, was the temperature when the race started, and it felt like 38. So I'm from New Hampshire,
Yeah,
New
you're
England.
good.
I'm used to cold in February. Not in Florida, but I'm used to cold in February. So it wasn't awful, I would say. And I took the advice that you've mentioned so many times on the show, Mike. The throwaway sweatsuit.
Oh, saves you.
I was decked out in the throwaway sweatsuit that I got rid of right before the race started. But I was dressed as Gaston.
Nice.
With a Gaston themed running shirt that I found, and a wig that did not last after the race. It made it through the race. It didn't make it home.
Hey, what we say is it died a hero. The wig died a hero. There you go.
It served its purpose. And we had a rental car, so we didn't take the buses. We drove ourselves, and we actually gave a lift to some fellow lizards that were at Pop. Trisha and her husband were staying at Pop.
Nice.
And they rode with us over to the 5K start. So the bus situation was a little different for us. We weren't taking that Disney transportation. But I mean the 5K itself, no real nerves per se for the 5K, because I've run 5Ks so many times. I run that distance 3 times a week routinely at home. I will say it's very surreal, that first time experience of running through World Showcase, as in the dark,
I
the
know,
lights are all,
it's
the
weird.
lights are on.
It's like I said
the
at night.
torches are.
Yeah.
Yeah, it almost feels like night, but the
Yeah.
torches are going around World Showcase Lagoon, and the lights are on, and the cast members are all out, and I'm in my Gaston costume, and I'm getting a couple of great shout outs from the cast members, like, "Oh, hey, Gaston,
Yes.
great to see you," and I had to respond, "Yes, it is great to see me, isn't it?"
Yes.
Got a picture in front of Spaceship Earth, basically doing that exact pose.
Exactly.
The muscle pose.
Yes.
It was fantastic. It was everything I hoped it would be. Definitely that 5K and experiencing it, and
That's so good. So, spoiler: we're gonna have another race to talk about here in just a little bit. So we'll talk about that. So after you finish the 5K, which the 5K, I mean, for folks that don't understand, like the 5K, all the Run Disney races start super early. If you're not familiar with Run Disney races, they typically start about 5 o'clock in the morning. For the reason is they want to get the runners in and out of the theme parks in plenty of time for the general public to go to the theme park opening without disruption to the general public. So everybody's out of the theme park. The good news is the runners can usually be done, get their medals, get the Gatorade, get their Powerade and their little goodie snack box and all that stuff, and get out of there and get back to the hotel. And still, for the most part, you can shower up and still almost make it back to a theme park for rope drop yourself if you're hustling. So how did it go for you the rest of the day? Because you did the 5K. Now tell us about how the rest of the day unfolded.
So just like you said, we got back to the hotel, showered, got cleaned up, and we rope dropped Magic Kingdom. We were right there, rope dropped Tron, right in that line. Got, it was maybe a 20-25 minute wait to get onto Tron. Got off of Tron, went right over to Space Mountain. We had a Lightning Lane multipass for Space Mountain. And from that point on, it was really kind of just a typical Magic Kingdom day, with the exception of, I think we did a little more character experiences to get those photos with the medal. That 5K medal, taking that first picture in front of the castle with the medal. That was something I definitely wanted to do. So we got several pictures in front of the castle, both just myself and then my wife and I together. And then we hopped to Hollywood Studios. And at a certain point, I was looking at her and I'm like, well, we can do one or two things. We can go back, we can take a rest, or we can, we can power through. We can see if we can get, and she's like, you know what? I think we're just going to power through. So we did. We powered through all the way to the end of Fantasmic at Hollywood Studios that night.
Man,
that's a long day, but it was a long day, but it was a fantastic day.
That is a good day. I mean, that's a super long day because you're getting up at like 3, you're 2:30 or 3. It's a super. But you had ABC commissary for dinner, so I gotta give you a shout out there. Did you have the
Buffalo
sandwich?
chicken grilled cheese.
There you go.
You know it.
So now Saturday, tell us about this day, because this is the day that everybody else running the 10K. You didn't run the 10K. So did you guys take the day off, not go to the theme parks, or what did you do here? Disney Springs?
We did. We had a day off from the theme parks, but we consider Saturday to be our epic dining day.
I like that.
So it started with our breakfast, which was beignets at French Quarter.
Oh, so good. You're killing me.
I mean, how else? What better way to start a Saturday morning than beignets at French Quarter?
The best donuts ever. Yes.
Without a doubt.
Oh.
And then we headed to Disney Springs. One of my wife's former coworkers, who now lives in Florida, came to meet us at Disney Springs, and we hung out with her and her partner for a while around Disney Springs, and brought them to their first lunch ever at the Polite Pig. So that was the second step of our epic dining day, was lunch at Polite Pig.
Oh man. So far, you 2 for 2. Everybody's like, come on now.
Polite Pig is like, people have their must-dos at Walt Disney World. Polite Pig is one of mine.
Yeah.
No trip is complete without a stop at Polite Pig. And I won't allow it. I won't allow us not to go to Polite Pig. It
should almost be illegal putting that right next to the escalator. Like that was such a, like, whoever, Mr. Pig or whoever owns that store, putting that next to the escalator was such a good move, because it's just like it gets in your brain like, oh, coming down the thing like I gotta have it. I mean, I guess unless you're a vegetarian, but I don't know, man. I'd have to have the green beans or something. Like, I'm sorry, I'm not a vegetarian, but I'd have to have something. So good. And then
not a vegetarian either.
Yeah, it calls to me. You know, I don't know, like
absolutely.
Moana in the ocean,
like a siren song.
Exactly, like Moana in the ocean. It's like Polite Pig and Mike Rollman. I'm just saying. Okay, so then what you did have the Triple Crown this day, so go ahead and put the third jewel in for us here for dinner.
Yes. So as if beignets at French Quarter and Polite Pig for lunch are not enough, we capped it off with dinner at Steakhouse 71.
Oh my god. You guys.
It's you go big or you go home.
Yes,
Mike.
you did.
That's
You
the
went
way.
big. So what'd you guys
We
get
went
at Steakhouse? You remember? It was a long time ago.
The prime rib. We get the prime rib. We both love the prime rib, and we always get the sauce flight.
Nice.
So we get that sample of all the sauces to try because their sauces are fantastic at Steakhouse 71. They're so delicious. So yeah, it was a day. It was that combination of really heavy, you know, a lot of good eating, but also sort of taking it easy in preparation of what was to come the next day. I don't think I'll ever have quite that same kind of dining day as I did that day, but it was definitely a dining day to remember.
Man, that's one for the books. Okay, so Sunday, half marathon day. Now you're kind of like teasing it. So were you not planning on running the half marathon from the get, or like what's the story with this? Because this was your first half marathon, right? So tell us about that.
It was, yes. So like you said, Mike, I had not planned to run the half marathon. I signed up initially with the running team for just the 5K. And about 5 to 6 weeks before race weekend, I got an email from the coordinator of the racing team that said because of the amount of money that I had fundraised, I had gone well above and beyond my fundraising goal. And the running team had 6 bibs left for the half marathon. They were not able to transfer those to anyone. They weren't able to kind of like give them away. They had to give them to members of their team, or offer them to members of their team, or they would lose them. So a half marathon bib was offered to me.
Nice.
And I'm reading this email in the car with my wife was driving and my 2 daughters were in the back seat. And I was just kind of, I read the email. I was just like, whoa. And my wife was going, what's going on? I just got offered a half marathon bib. I'm like, I don't think I can't do this. Are you kidding me? It's a half marathon. I've never run a half marathon before. And my wife looked at me and she said, what would Robin tell you to do?
Ooh, that's powerful stuff. That's your wife cut right to the core there, and I like that. That's a loving. Yep. That's a supportive partner. I like that.
Without a doubt. Yeah, she didn't mince words. She said, what would Robin tell you to do? And I said, she'd tell me to do it.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
She knows I can. And who knows when I'll get this opportunity again. So I was shaking hands, replied, yes, I will take the bib, and gave myself 5 weeks to train for a half marathon. Mm-hmm. At which point Mother Nature turned on me in New England, because every weekend was freezing cold and snow. And
yeah, that's every time it's going to happen to you. Yeah, I mean, it's like trials and tribulations, man. It makes the story better. Yeah.
Yep. But there I was on Sunday morning in Corral G, ready to give it a go. My first ever half marathon.
So now I'm sure this on Sunday that the nerves were hitting, right? Because you're corralled back pretty far. So you get to see, you have so much time I think that's the thing about runDisney races, is that your mind has so much time to think about things. Even if you're in a corral, you got to be there so stinking early to wait, to get to go. I think if you just got to get there and go, it'd be so much easier, but you get there because all the logistics of how many people have to get into the corrals and so forth. But you stand there and you got to, of course they do a good job of entertaining you with, John and Riley and Carissa and the group and they're awesome at what they do. We love them. They're friends of ours, but it's just, you just don't want to stand there in the cold in a parking lot for 2 hours. And we have to do that logistically, but the butterflies start chirping for all of us. And I've done these races so many times. I still get so nervous. I almost want to puke every time, and I'm sure it's for a first timer that is, especially with that limited training window and all the emotions, you're probably a wreck.
It gives you a lot of time to think, a lot of time to think, which is not necessarily the best thing.
Exactly.
When you're about to run your
first
half marathon.
I
just want to get out there.
Same. Just let's go.
Don't let me sit here and think about this.
See, that's me every time.
Because I'm going to think, what am I doing?
I know. Yeah.
And I had those moments. I had those moments of, am I insane?
Yeah.
There's no way that I'm going to be able to do this. And, once we got to the start and we started going and I got into the race and, got through those first couple of miles and the pace was good. And I was like, okay, we're getting along, and, got to about the halfway point and I was like, okay, that was when I think I truly started to believe, yes, I can do this. I can definitely do this.
So tell us about this, because we joked in the beginning, because you got a PR for this race because it's your first half marathon, right? It's always going to be your PR race, but your first one, which I love. But, you only get to have that first experience once. And there's something special about a half marathon at Walt Disney World because of the course. And the course for the half marathon at Marathon Weekend and Princess Half Marathon Weekend is the same course, where you run from Epcot to the Magic Kingdom back to Epcot. And the turnaround point's basically running through the castle, running down Main Street. And that's what gets everybody coming back, to be honest. I mean, that's why I keep running. And I mean, was that the highlight for you? Was there something else that stood out? Like, what was there, like those moments during the race? Because it could be to somebody you saw on the course during the half marathon, something, like the high school bands sometimes catch my, make me like choke up a little bit. But was there something you saw, like a moment on the course that choked you up a little bit?
You could pretty much hit the nail on the head. Main Street, the castle, just in Magic Kingdom in general, completely surreal. And I was lucky enough to get along the correct side of the race route, that the Team Teal cheering squad was there, and my wife was right there along the rail with them, cheering me along. She went with me to the start and then immediately took off, headed for the monorail, met up with the rest of the cheering squad. They rode the monorail over. They were right there when they let everybody into the Magic Kingdom so they could claim their spot. And there she was on Main Street, and there was the big teal ribbon that they were holding up to indicate, hey, here's the Team Teal squad here to cheer you on. And, there's my wife cheering me on in a half marathon on Main Street, USA at Magic Kingdom at Walt Disney World. It almost didn't feel real.
Yep.
But it was incredible. And that was the moment that it really truly kind of hit me, that how special that this truly is. There were 17,000 of us on the course that day, but I want to say, I think all of us had that same moment. Like, this is something so few get to experience, and it's so special, and we are so incredibly lucky. It doesn't matter how much your feet hurt.
Yep.
It doesn't matter whether you're chafed and you're bleeding.
Yep.
This is so special, and it really hit me in that moment.
Yep. You just got to remember, you're not going to be able to do this forever. Treasure every time you get to run down Main Street. And so many people will never do this in their life. And we're so lucky to get this. I just never take it for granted, right? This could be your last time ever running down Main Street. I try to remember that every time we come past the Contemporary, now we come past the Grand Floridian. We used to come past the Contemporary. Now we do it the back. Now we go backwards. We leave that way. But Like every time we're going into the Magic Kingdom, I'm like, take it all in, dude. First thing I do is I turn off my AirPods. I make sure that I'm in the moment and that's the best advice I'd have for anybody that's doing this for the first time or thinking about doing this is like soak it in, and don't try to bust through there in an 8-minute mile when you're going down Main Street. Like slow down, walk. There's gonna be people four people deep on Main Street cheering you on. Think about how many times in life people are gonna cheer a 51-year-old dude from Missouri on. It never happens. It's never ever gonna happen, but they're gonna be cheering me for the next 1 minute going down Main Street, USA. It is such a wild thing. It is so cool. And you see signs and you get, it's not just about you either. You see a grandpa, hugging the grandkids who got up super early and they're not really excited that they had to get up early, but they see their grandpa running a half marathon and he's, tearing up, hugging the grandkids, getting a selfie. The stuff you see is just remarkable. So I just say, if you ever do one of these, and you've given a great examples, Adam, it's just soak it in, it's so, I think sometimes you're just it's a race, and I've been guilty of this sometimes too. I just want to bust through there and, get a good time. And there's a time and a place for that. But man, the older I get, you don't know how many more times down Main Street you're ever going to get to run. Enjoy it. You don't get this in life very often. Take it in.
Yeah. People like to talk about core memory days. I didn't know you could still have them at 44 years old, but apparently
100%.
you can, because that was my experience on Main Street and the half marathon, and even, down Main Street, around the castle, back through the castle, out past, through Tomorrowland and past Space Mountain and everything. It was I couldn't believe I was here. And even just going into Epcot and in through World Celebration and back out into the parking lot. Everything about that race, and getting through those last couple of miles and the music playing in my AirPods as I'm heading toward the finish line. It's go the distance.
Yep.
It's happily ever after. It's it's what else can I do from Encanto? I just ran a half marathon. What else can I do?
Exactly.
What? And crossing that finish line, I think that's when the emotion hit me the most of that race, was crossing that finish line and pointing to the sky and just kind of.
You had help that day. You had help. You had somebody with you on the course. Absolutely.
I did. And yeah, kind of taking a breath and taking a moment and realizing that I just did something that if you had told me, 10 years ago that you would be finishing a half marathon at Walt Disney World, I'd have told you were crazy. I'd have told you there was no way that would ever happen. And here I am.
Yeah, I love that. And I hope that medal has a special place in your home where, that when you walk past it, it has that special memory, not of the day, but of just why. A lot of times, coaches talk about, teachers talk about the why, what's your why? Mm-hmm. And that, that had a special why behind this. Why were you?
Oh, there? Yeah. This medal, the why is way more important than the how.
Yeah. That's so well said. Absolutely. Yeah. Because people always ask, we talk about souvenirs and stuff like that. What do you collect? Also, I don't know why I started collecting popcorn buckets. That's totally Scott's fault. I got one. And now I've got a bunch. I don't know how that, but I guess I collect popcorn buckets. I usually don't collect much. But I love the Run Disney medals because every one of them has something. Because you have to collect them, you have to go through something. That's what I like, right? Yep. You have to at least run 3.1 miles to get a medal. And every one of them has some kind of a story behind it. It was freezing that morning, or, I almost puked on this course, or there's always something. It's never the perfect day, hardly ever. It's always oh my gosh, the one half marathon, it got canceled, but we still ran 13 miles like idiots and almost got struck by lightning. There's some of them are nicked up, and I don't care because that gives them character. But I love that, you have, every time you see those medals, oh, I remember who I ran that with, on that course, or I ran that by myself, but this happened. And they, that's kind of the cool thing when you get to see that little thing hanging on the wall. So the one thing you mentioned in your notes, though, you kept this a secret from everybody back home that you were even doing the half. So intentional, but like, how did you let them know and how'd that go?
Yes, so we kept it secret from pretty much everyone. Both of our sets of parents, all of our friends. The only people that knew up until the day of the race were the four of us in the car that day. So it was hard. It was hard not to talk about it for the weeks leading up to race day. But from the car, we were calling our parents and FaceTiming. And at the day of the race, our daughters were with my parents, so we FaceTimed them, and I just kind of like, hey, so I did a thing today,
Nice.
and just like held up my medal to the screen, to the phone screen, and my daughters were saying, he ran a half marathon.
I would have had a heart attack if I'd have found out my dad ran a half marathon, because he doesn't do that.
It caught them by surprise.
That's super cool. I mean, because again, that's like a core memory for them, because they'll never forget that call. Like, next time you surprise them, like, did he run a full? Did he do something? Did he do a triathlon? Did he do an Ironman? Don't get crazy like a half marathon. Like,
Pump the brakes.
Seriously, I'm with you, dude. People always ask me like, "You ever gonna do a triathlon?" I'm like, dude, I can barely swim. Let's stop. Let's just knock it off. How about an Ironman? How about an ultra? How about let's stop? I'm 51 years old. I can barely.
I haven't ridden a bike in about 25 years. Let's just
I'm about ready to retire to 5Ks. People, knock it off. people are like losing their minds. Yeah, stop it. Okay, so let's talk about the rest of the trip. So you got the rest of Sunday. Now you've just done 13 miles. So I mean, you're tired, right? I mean, you just did that, but you're also on this runner's high the rest of the day, which is pretty awesome. I mean, to ride out, you're sore, but it's a good sore. So how do you finish the day? And then you also stayed on Monday, but it looks like Monday was kind of a rainy day, but you made the best of it. So tell us how you wrapped up the trip.
Yeah. So like you said, the soreness was you felt it by the end of the day.
It gets worse and worse.
We didn't do a full day that day. We cut it kind of short. But we did some time at Hollywood Studios, and now walking around with 2 medals and getting pictures. Bonus, like, hey, look, I got 2 of these now. It was an earlier night that night, because it was just kind of like, okay, we're toast. let's quit while we're ahead.
Yes, smart move.
But Monday we woke up, and Monday was a little bit rainy. It was a little bit kind of iffy. Normally Monday I get up and go for a run. Obviously I didn't do that.
Good call.
Gave myself the day off in that situation. But we went back to Epcot, and did Epcot for the morning, and it was the last day of virtual queues for both Guardians of the Galaxy and for Tiana's Bayou Adventure.
I remember that day.
So so we got up and I jumped right on, got our virtual queue for Guardians. I got virtual queue group number 22, so a very early group. We got into Epcot. We decided to go to Starbucks. We're going to get our coffee for the morning, and our group gets called while we're waiting for our coffee to be called at Starbucks. I get the notification that, oh, hey, your group's up. So we walked from Starbucks to Guardians, chugging our coffees.
That's such a bad idea. Well, maybe you can handle it. You're a better man than I am if you can.
Had to get that caffeine first thing in the morning. Had to get that caffeine.
I don't know, not me.
Made it successfully. Got on Guardians, and then finished up at Epcot. Decided to hop back over to Magic Kingdom, and we got to Magic Kingdom mid-afternoon, and the virtual queue was actually still open. The 1:00 drop was still open for Tiana's. So we're like, oh, okay. We had ridden it on Friday, and we said, all right, well, let's do this again. So the last day of virtual queues for both of those rides, we managed to get virtual queues for both of them.
Look at that.
Which almost sort of feels like the answer of a trivia question.
Right, exactly. Who was the only person to score a virtual queue, both at Guardians of the Galaxy and Tiana's Bayou Adventure on the last day of virtual queues? It is Adam from New Hampshire. 10 points. That might be on my next Disney cruise. That could be asking that question.
There you go.
I'll have it. Hey, just ready. A couple weeks.
And if it's not on there, you should suggest it.
I will. I will definitely, like, hey, You want a question? I have one for you because these other ones are stale. Now, I got to say, because it's your last line of the note you gave me, and I just got to say, perfection for how to wrap up a trip in my book.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
I'm simpleton, and this is so perfect, though. Because, I mean, everything doesn't have to be Cinderella. And I know we're having a big debate the day we're recording this about how awesome a reservation for Cinderella's roll table is. And it is an amazing thing. Everybody needs to do it at one point. It is awesome. But the opposite of that, which is just as awesome, is that you had dinner at Casey's with an All-American Sundae from the Plaza and watched Happily Ever After to wrap up the trip. I'm just like, that's it. I mean, because, it's just like, it's Main Street. It's the core of the Magic Kingdom. And it's just a great way to wrap up a trip. It's like corn dog nuggets, a hot dog, whatever it is. It's like a mini No Way Jose kind of thing going on with the All-American Sundae. And I love Happily Ever After. And when you hear Go the Distance in that now, forever, it's going to hit a little harder. Dude, it just hits harder forever. And I mean, what a way to wrap the trip, right?
I told my wife as we were getting ready to watch the show, I said, I'm gonna lose it during this show. I get emotional during Happily Ever After as it is. It was the first fireworks show that my oldest daughter ever saw. And actually it's the first fireworks show that both of my daughters saw in their lifetime. So as a father, that right there is enough to, bring a tear to my eye. But I'm now watching Happily Ever After, having just done something that I never thought possible for myself. And, the memory of a lost loved one, in my mind, carrying me through that race, getting to the finish line, and, the joy and sorrow and the emotion and everything. I was a mess. I was an absolute mess. Even though those first notes of Happily Ever, the song start, and I'm I was a blubbering mess for the majority of that show, but so worth it.
Yeah, I'm pretty good until that part of Go the Distance starts. That always gets me. And Mallory makes fun of me every time. She's like, Dad. She turns to me when that part goes, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Shut up."
Quiet.
Because Happily Ever, same thing though.
Dusty
because,
out here.
Exactly. And the same thing is like, she loved Happily Ever After. And like, I just remember that every time she took a shower, like, I think this was like during COVID, like when she was a little bit younger, she has an Echo in her bathroom, and her bathroom's right off our living room. And she would just play the Happily Ever After soundtrack so loud in her bathroom every time she got in the shower, every single night. Like, she'd just be like, "Hey, you play Happily Ever After," right? And it would just blast. And it always made my heart happy. It's like, Dad, like, she could be playing all these other things, and she's playing this. And she would be singing it in the shower. You could just hear her belting it out as she got her shower every night. And I was like, oh, that just makes my heart happy. And when they brought it back, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so great, because it's this little piece of that time when she was younger, because now she's going to be a senior in high school, and I know it's not going to be here forever, but every time I hear it, it takes me back to that time, and I think that's kind of the nostalgia thing of, I hope Disney never forgets that nostalgia is a big part of why people go back, and every time I hear it, it takes me back to that special time. Yeah, you said it really well, because it is. But also Go the Distance reminds me of all the races. I don't know. It just makes me think, oh, if we can get there. I love the lyrics.
I personally think that Magic Kingdom fireworks have peaked with Happily Ever After. It is the perfect show. The projections, the soundtrack, the fireworks. They've did everything so well with that show, and like you talked about Mallory playing it, every night. Mm-hmm. Me and my daughters, watching the show, they're singing along with me, as the song's going on, and trying to keep it together to sing along with them. I love that show. They love that show, and I hope it stays for a long time.
Let's keep it just for a little while. Yeah, a little Happily Ever After, the parade, now Starlight. Let's go. That'd be a good combo for a while. All right. Well, hey, we're going to wrap this up. But Adam, hey, I just got to tell you, thank you for doing this show. And I just, honestly, thank you for supporting the charity, because you're not only running the miles, but you are helping people in a huge way. And by doing this show, you are helping people know that, by running, you can make a positive impact on the world and help people, help research with, ovarian cancer with your charity. Other charities are out there. You can do this for, a cause that has some connection to your life. But, first of all, congratulations on that half marathon. But more importantly, thank you for doing what you're doing, and good luck with Princess 2026. We'll be definitely cheering for you.
Thank you, Mike. I appreciate it. Yeah, back again in 2026 and doing the challenge this time around. So I decided, a half marathon wasn't enough. I got to push myself even further.
Yeah, I mean,
we're doing the challenge this time.
Well, because 2 medals are awesome, but
3
are better. Yeah, clean. Yeah, exactly. It'll be crazy.
Once you get 2 medals, the only way to go from there is to get 3 medals.
100%. Yeah, exactly. Before 2027, you'll end up getting, who knows? It's stuff. It scales quickly in the Disney, as we all know. I mean, be careful. I used to just run, like one race a year, and it scaled quickly. Yeah. So just be careful. All right. Thank you for coming on the show, and I appreciate you so much. Thanks for being a part of our team. I'm glad we're teammates.
My pleasure. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it.
All right. Don't forget, our show is brought to you by the Magic for Less Travel. We'd love to help you get to your favorite Disney destination. You want to check out a race? We'd love to help take care of, getting you down there for the hotel, the tickets, all that stuff. And telling you what, you'll always have lots of great teammates when you're in those corrals, because there are lots of us at all the race weekends. You'll never run alone. I promise you that. So come on over. We'll get you set up for your next Walt Disney World, Disneyland, Disney Cruise Line, Adventures by Disney vacation. Check out all the details today over at the Platinum Earmarked Agency called The Magic for Less Travel over at themagicforless.com. Please also use our Amazon affiliate link. It's beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. Just click through that link and it takes you right back to Amazon and supports the show with each purchase. So please use that as often as you can. And thank you to our Patreon supporters. You guys keep us on the air. That money goes right to our video hosting, our audio hosting, the bandwidth, all that stuff, because it does get expensive, but we love doing the shows, 3-4 times a week. So thank you for that support. You can support us just $5 a month. And for that support, you get a bonus show called Mike in the Midwest every week. So come on over this week. We'd love to have you. Patreon.com/BeOurGuestPodcast. And thank you so very much to our patrons who are already over there. We love you guys. Don't forget, you can follow me on the social media at BeOurGuestMike. That's on X.com, Instagram, and Threads. Where we want to see you is in the Clubhouse. It's our free Discord server. It's like a message board / live chat room. I mean, this thing is going all the time. If you have a listener question, you have a question about anything, you'll get an answer usually in about 10 or 15 minutes. I mean, boom, from multiple people. You want to talk sports, you want to talk life, you got Disney pictures. We have a memories channel. We have a pin trading board. Anything you want, come on over. It's a ton of fun. Just go to beourguestpodcast.com/clubhouse. Free for everybody. Ton of fun. We'll see you over there. And we'll have a live call-in show this Sunday night, 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Central. We open up the phone lines. Scotty G will be with me, and we'll talk Disney from 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Central for an hour. We'll be on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, or Twitch. So tune in wherever you like and give us a holler. All right. So for Adam up in New Hampshire, I'm Mike here in Missouri saying, hope you have a great week. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you real soon.
You've been listening to the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. If you have questions, comments, or would like to be a guest on the show, please visit our website at beourguestpodcast.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you real soon.